Hey, hello, Terry. All right, well,
Hello.
we're going to get started, and I am so excited. We have another featured author. I am here with Kizzi Roberts, and we're going to be talking about Critter Camp Kids. So
Yeah.
exciting. I love Kidlit.
Yeah. Yes. I'm
So much
excited.
fun. All right. So I don't think I really have any announcements other than just to remind you guys, those of y'all who are watching the replay, make sure you comment so that I know you watched it and you'll get your 10 points. And I will announce the winner of this week's book from Kizzi. I will announce that on Saturday, and the goal is around 7-ish is usually when I do my little live thing. I do have a conference this Saturday, so if I'm a little late, just know there's a reason, but I'll be in there. And I think that's pretty much it. So let's dive in. And Kizzi, please remind us who you are. Tell us a little bit about your book that you're going to be giving away. And share with us your favorite either scene, line, or character from your book.
Okay. Great. Hi, I'm Kizzi Roberts. I write books for children. I have picture books and chapter books. So right now I'm kind of in the preschool to up to age 10 range, with hopes to expand that in the future. But that's where I'm at right now. And so this is book 1 in my Critter Camp Kids series, Harper and the Raptor Rescue. So the series actually kind of focuses on 4 different girls. They all share a cabin together, and so we have Harper, Kinsley, Emma, and Avery. And so that will be the focus as the series continues. They each get their own books. But I was really thinking on this one, and I think maybe my favorite scene in this book is when Harper's talking with the counselor, and she realizes that the counselor was scared about going to he never went to summer camp because he was scared to leave home. And she realizes that he's a counselor and he had fears also, and so I think that's important to think about. Everybody has something they're scared of, and as a kid, you look up to adults or even just older, teenagers as maybe not having any fears. So
That
I
is
think
so
that's an
great.
important realization for her.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so important for kids to realize all those things, that they're not alone, and what they
Mhm.
feel like they're going through, they're not the only one, and there are other people who have been through it. So I love that.
Yeah.
Yay. Okay, well, tell us, what do you love most about writing Kidlit? And you're also an illustrator, so would you tell us a little bit about what you prefer to illustrate, what
Yeah.
medium you use to draw, and if you've illustrated for other authors?
Okay. So I think the reason I love writing for kids is probably because I love to read as a kid. And I'm always wanting to just write that book that I wanted to read as a kid. So I want to help transport kids to, not even fantastical worlds, but just, summer camp. I never got to go to like a summer camp, like a extended summer camp, 2 weeks away or anything like that. And so for me, writing these books is kind of fun because it's like I get to experience summer camp alongside my characters. And so I hope that kids reading the books, they get that escape too. They can imagine themselves at summer camp having these adventures. Um, yeah. So, and then as far as illustrating, I do my illustrations digitally. I typically use Photoshop. I've been playing around with Procreate a bit because it's kind of fun. It's more iPad friendly. And I have a lot of fun with that. I haven't illustrated anything for other authors yet. I would kind of hope to. But for me, illustrating is still harder than writing. I'm much more productive writing and get a lot more accomplished than when I sit down to draw something.
Oh my goodness. I'm just amazed at you being able to do both. Like, that's always
Oh,
blown my mind. So I love that. And Rachel is going to want to talk to you, I'm sure. She does illustrations and drawing, and
oh,
she's been playing with like the digital stuff. So
yeah,
I have a feeling there's going to be a question coming when she
yeah.
when she hears this. That's great. All right. So, Harper and the Raptor Rescue is a STEM chapter book, which we
Mhm.
have been talking a lot about that. I know several people had questions about that. So, would you explain what that means and share why you're passionate about getting kids excited about STEM? And what do you hope that your series inspires young readers to do?
Yeah. So STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. And sometimes you'll also hear about STEAM. That's becoming popular as well, where the A would stand for arts. But uh, I focus more on the STEM side. I mean, they do some crafty things at camp, so there could be some art aspect, I suppose. Uh, but for me, I always really enjoyed science as a kid, and sometimes there weren't always the opportunities to do the sciencey things I read about in books. I wanted to do all this crazy experiments. You read in books kids having these great big adventures, and so I trying it's kind of fun coming up with different kind of science activities they can do in the books. And in the second book, Kinsley and the Curious Corn Snake, they actually make slime and it changes color in the sun. And so, I wanted something that like kids could actually do if they wanted to make slime. And I have some like bonus activities that I share for the books, and I haven't made the activities for the second book yet, but I'm hoping to put in a slime recipe, as a bonus material. Um, so for me, I don't know. I just want kids to think and want to be creative. I mean, and that can be creative in the sciences or, creative in art. I also do try to incorporate some cell concepts in the books. There's the socio emotional learning. Because they are kids at summer camp where they're navigating friendships and all of this kind of on their own. There's counselors there, but it's about as independent as a 10-year-old can be, I think, at that age. um, yeah. And then, sorry, what was the last part of the question?
Let's see. Oh, hold on. I got to grab it real quick. And what do you hope your series inspires young readers to do?
Oh,
So I
yeah.
think you kind of answered that, but yeah.
Yeah, on the science side, but I also overall, it is critter camp and the focus is on the animals, and I hope it encourages kids to love animals and from afar, that, oh, they want to go to the zoo or see them or this and that, but also, encourage them to know that they could take care of these animals, and maybe they want to have a hobby farm or a big farm, or maybe just get into raising reptiles or something, or fish, or whatever, just to know that it's okay to want to have animals in your life and care for them, and that it's a very rewarding thing for people and for the animals, this relationship and bond that you get with animals.
So I'm curious. I'm slipping this question in. Do you
Yeah.
have animals? Like, what is your relationship with animals?
Yeah. So we have a dog at the moment, but I grew up with a lot of animals. My parents had a farm, so we had beef cattle. So we always had, the odd bottle calf that made its way into our garage. But then when I was in high school, I wanted an animal I could raise myself. I had a rabbit, and my brother raised chickens, but I wanted something a little more, I don't know, that did a little more than a rabbit, like a little more exciting than a rabbit. Um, and so I got goats. And so I raised dairy goats for, I don't know, all through high school and college. And I took them to shows, and I had a lot of fun with that. They were Nigerian dwarf goats. So they were the little ones, and they were so much fun. But now we have a dog, and I actually have bees. I have one beehive. So I don't know if that counts, but
That totally counts. That's so
Yeah.
cool. Oh, I love that. And Nigerian dwarf goats are so adorable. That's what
Yes.
they have at like our zoos for like the petting zoos.
Mhm, a lot of times,
They're
yeah, or
so
pygmy
sweet.
goats, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. I have a very good friend who loves goats and she really wants a goat.
Yeah, they're great. They're wonderful.
Oh. All right. So now switching a little bit of our gears here and talking about your picture books, which I didn't really
Yeah,
know a whole lot about. So, Silly Songs for All Seasons is your picture book series. Can you
yeah.
tell us a little bit about those books? And then what can we look forward to in both of these series and for all the books? What do you have coming up?
Yeah, so, that's kinda where I started with the first picture book was The Elves Go Marching, and it really came about from reading books to my toddler. You read, like, so many kids' books. And I tell you, I I got involved with, SCBWI in, like, 2014, and I was writing before that, but, I don't know, it used to be a lot harder to find where to start, and I think there's so many more resources available now online, and Facebook groups and just everything, right? But I got involved with SCBWI, and that's kinda when I got, like, serious about writing, but I you know
Uh-oh, we kind of like have a lull. Ah, Kizzy, can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? Terry and Lisa, if either of y'all can let me know.
I
Can
hear
you hear
ya.
me? Awesome.
I hear
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Um,
I think
the
Kizzy's just
author
frozen.
disappeared. Her internet might be on the blink or something. That
Yeah.
happens sometimes.
Okay. I think she just hopped off. She'll probably try to hop back on. We've got Martha coming in. So, hey, Martha. Just letting you know what's going on. Kizzy just her internet kind of froze. So, hopefully, she's going to be popping back in just a minute. That just happened. So thank y'all for being here. Do y'all have any questions? I will say one thing. She just mentioned SCBWI, and that's the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. So it's an amazing organization and super helpful for both writers and illustrators. So, yay, Kizzy!
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can't see you.
Oh, sorry.
Yay! There we go. I see you now.
Sorry,
Yay.
and I'm on my in-laws' Wi-Fi, so maybe we're in the country. It's possible it just dropped. So,
Gotcha.
anyways, I connected to my phone's hotspot now, so I think that'll work better.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry.
Well, yeah, so that's fine. So I think you were kind of in the middle of saying something when it kind of cut out and it froze for a
Mhm.
little bit. But I did tell everybody what SCBWI stands
Oh,
for.
good.
So that's super
Good.
cool. I love that.
Perfect. Yeah. So I got involved and I did so many conferences and retreats, and I met so many wonderful people and people I'm still writers and illustrators I'm still in contact with. And in fact, that's how I met my illustrator for Critter Camp Kids, Stephen Gilpin. I won the illustrator mentorship that our region has, and he was the mentor. So I got to work with him as far as picking his brain about illustrating. But then when I had this idea for Critter Camp Kids, I was like, I he's the one to illustrate this book. I just know it. So that was great. But so the Elves Go Marching, that was kind of my first uh like I'm just gonna do it and put it out there. Because I have so many other picture book manuscripts that I have other plans for. Um but you always talk about reading for research, right? And the picture books you read, but I tell you, when you have a toddler, or it'd probably be the same for teachers where they're reading books to kids every day. When you are actually reading a book to a child and not just like sitting and reading it yourself, it really changes your perspective on what makes a book that's entertaining to a child, and so the we sang the ants go marching a lot, and I got the idea to do a different spin on the ants go marching song. And so the elves go marching is essentially to the tune of the ants go marching, but it's the elves go marching and they're packing up Santa's sleigh. And so in the song, the ants go marching 10 by 10, and so the elves go marching 10 by 10. I thought, oh, wouldn't it be funny if it was multiplying, right, instead of a row of 10, if it was actually 10 by 10 elves. So we start out one by one and it goes up to 10 by 10, and so kind of that aspect of counting incorporated into the book, so a little bit of subtle learning, and also a page that's filled with 100 elves, which is fun for kids. And so then after that, the eggs go rolling kind of came about, and then I thought, I should put these in a series together, and so that's where the silly songs for all seasons, because I had some other ideas for maybe other to the tune of the ants go marching or other songs, but then I started working at Critter Camp Kids, and that's become my focus. And then also I do have a new series that you may or may not have seen. It is Animal Clues Guess Who? And so I have forest animals, polar animals, and farm animals. And I actually teamed up with a local farm that I'm friends with people for the farm animals book. And I actually went out there and took pictures of their animals. So we have their animals in the book. And then, so like, this is Alex the chicken.
Is that a silky?
Yes, yeah. It's
Yeah.
a little, the little bantam silkies. Yes.
We have a couple of silkies, so I'm
Yes,
familiar.
they're so cute. They're so fluffy. And so then I actually was on a local news program with talking about this one, because that my friends had been on there before, and then they connected me with the host, and so it was really fun to go on and talk about my books. So that's I actually have another book that's basically ready. I just need to finish it. It'll be in this series, but it'll be sea animals. And then I have the outline for Critter Camp Book 3 done, and I actually got the illustrations from Steven, the sketches of the illustrations from him. So I just need to sit down and write the book 3.
You've got a lot going on, and a toddler and a brand newborn. That's amazing.
Yes, I have a 6-week-old, so I'm trying not to put too much pressure on myself, but just kind of try to do something little so I don't feel like I'm completely not doing anything. I mean, because I enjoy it, obviously. So.
Oh, so awesome. So I'm curious about your main character in the first book, Harper. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Does Harper have any of your qualities or characteristics? Or is there another one of the characters that will be featured in another book that is a little bit more like you?
That's a good question. When I was looking at the questions ahead of time, I was like, oh, that's a good one. Because I think when I did a school visit, the kids asked that too, or something about, and I was like, oh, I honestly hadn't really thought about it. I just had these characters in my head of how they would be. And I didn't really, think if I was modeling them after any of my qualities or not. But now that I think about it, I don't know. I feel like I would have been like a little bit like Harper when I was that age initially at summer camp. I mean, I went to like 3-day, like weekend camps. I never got to go to like a 2-week camp. but there's always that little bit of nervousness and a little bit shy initially, maybe, but then and you'll see she warms up. She comes out of her shell. Even in the first book, she's a little bit more brave by the end of it, and she's good at making friends. So
I
yeah.
love watching the little friendships grow too. I think you've done such a good job of that.
Oh,
And,
thank
because that is hard. It's hard as a kid. It's hard at any age to make
you.
friends, but it's a big deal as a kid.
Yeah, and I think that was really important to me in this series, to show strong friendships and that everybody is like real but nice. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, they have their differences. Like in the second book, Kinsley, she doesn't get along real well with another little boy, but they work it out. And I just wanted like good role models, and strong friendships and kids that the readers will kind of look up to, or and they have qualities that are admirable, but also they have flaws. But I just tried to keep out any like just meanness. I just didn't want to have any kind of things that would like bring the reader down.
Yeah.
Just kind of try to have real experiences, but that show that you can have these strong female friendships, and they don't have to be jealous or catty or anything like that.
You've done a good job of that, I think.
Oh, thank you.
So I do have a couple more questions, but I want to go ahead and see if anybody here tonight has questions for you. So y'all can either unmute and ask, or you can type it in the chat and I'll read it either way. So Martha said that she really loves that song-based book, which is a lot of fun. I love that.
I wanted to say that I appreciate the efforts to not have a huge focus on mean-spiritedness. Seems like so many of the popular kids' books these days, the Dork Diaries, the Wimpy Kids books, those things tend to focus on that a lot. And I know I was a naive little kid, but my experience growing up was a lot more people were nice than weren't where I went to
Mm-hmm.
school, and it could be I was just oblivious, but that's I don't know. It seems
Yeah.
like an easy device for so many of the children's authors to throw in the real mean, real bratty kid, and how do I deal with that? So I appreciate that effort. And then
Thank
my question in the group about how long your characters pre-existed the books
you. Yeah.
came from the idea that maybe these characters were built on storytelling with your kids, and that maybe that's where the characters came from initially. And so that's why I was asking if I have I guess unrealistic views of writers' lives.
Oh, Dale, I have a lot of other characters that have been living in my head for a really long time, and their book hasn't quite materialized yet. But these characters, it came together really quickly. Once I had the initial idea, I just I don't know, I outlined it, and it just kind of wrote. I don't want to say it wrote itself, but it just felt right. So a lot of times I'll write something and I'll just go back over the opening line or the opening chapter, and I'll just mess with it and never get the full thing written. And this, I just felt really good about it from start to finish, and just in general, the whole series. Like, I mean, the second book also was just really fun to write, and then I've kind of outlined the whole rest of the series as far as chapter title or book titles and themes and things like that. So I'm really excited about getting the whole series out there, and then moving on to the next project. But Yeah.
That's so exciting. Right. Any other questions?
And I mean, you can ask questions like if they have questions about publishing too. I don't know if that is okay, but I don't mind answering questions about indie publishing too.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually curious about that because the farm animals, that series, that's with a publishing company, and then are the other ones you've indie published, or how has that worked?
Well, they're actually all indie published. My friend and I started. Oh, sorry. Did Lisa? Do you have a question?
Oh,
I didn't mean to interrupt.
sorry, I didn't realize. Oh, sorry. Hang on. I was talking to someone else.
No, it's okay. Yeah. So my friend and I. So my friend, her name's Carrie. She was or still is involved with SCBWI, but she does educational publishing, like for I don't know, probably 20 years or something. She was a school teacher, and then she got into doing the kind of the work for hire type stuff. So she wrote like for textbooks and I don't know, did like edit. I don't even know what all she does, but it's just brilliant. And I feel so lucky that we met through SCBWI. We met through a critique group, and then whenever we moved to where we currently live, I realized that she lived fairly close, and so I reached out to her, and we just connected, and it's just been great. And so we formed a company together with because she's the one that kind of got me onto indie publishing, and once I started doing my research, I was like, oh, we can do this. Like, I think this is the future. And we would, we set it all up like a LLC and the publishing company and everything, because we would like to help other authors at some point down the road, when we feel like we've learned, more of the ins and outs of the business. Um, because, there are so many gatekeepers in um, publishing, and there's so many stories that should be told, you know. Um, and so I'm also happy, if somebody is wanting to self-publish and they have questions, I'm happy to help with that or answer what I can. So yeah, so Learning Spark Educational Publishing is what we set up as our kind of encompasses. We felt like it could pretty much anything up to middle grade that we wanted to publish, because we knew we wanted to have an educational aspect to it, because we aren't trying to go head to head with the big five, the traditional publishers. We're trying to fill those little niches that we know there's a market for, and there's no books there, so. And I'm sure, as a parent, I will pretty much always buy my child a book that's more nonfiction. If we're at the store and she sees a book about spiders, and I'm probably going to buy it for her because she's excited about spiders. you know. So yeah, so all of our books we try to have an educational aspect to it. So Carrie has put out some books, and and it can be, it's still right, learning is fun, so some of our books are like you know finding things in the picture, like kind of the hidden picture books, and that sort of thing.
So cool. I love that y'all did that together. So one of the really cool things about being an author in any field or any form of publishing as well is the relationships and the connections, and
Mhm.
those are tend to be so beautiful. And so I've loved hearing about you meeting your illustrator, and about you and Carrie, and all of
Mhm.
these things, and the things that have been accomplished together. That's so exciting.
Yeah, it's definitely been a huge learning process, but really, really fun. There's pros and cons to traditional publishing. There's pros and cons to indie publishing. Um, And for some people, traditional publishing is the right fit, and for other people, indie publishing is the right fit. So you just have to weigh all the different aspects of it. And for me, honestly, just going to so many conferences and having critiques with editors or agents, and then going to their talks and listening. And the last retreat I went to was with an editor from Union Square Publishing, which is like, they're smaller, but they're still like a pretty big Union Square Kids, I think that's what it is. And she was talking about how, like, once you sell your manuscript to a publisher, like, it's not really yours anymore. It's the editor, it's the team that acquired it. They all believe in it and they want it to be its best, but it doesn't really belong to you anymore. And that kind of hit me like, but it's mine, you know? And I was like, oh, I don't know how much I like that. Um, and so then talking with Carrie, because she went to that same retreat, and we drove up together and drove back together, and we talked a lot. And that's when she put the little bug in my ear about indie publishing. And so I started doing my research, and I thought, this might be the better fit. So, and it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun.
I know. I had similar experience. It was just, this is the right path for me. So it's exciting to hear authors' journeys and how they find that path and what made it pop to them. So.
Yeah.
Well, does anyone else have any questions? I do have a couple more, but I want to make sure everybody who's here has a chance to ask. Okay. So, in addition to your books, of course, reading your books and reviewing your books and all those good things, how can readers engage with you? What's the best way to kind of keep up with you?
Sorry, I had kids coming in here.
It's fitting for a kidlit author, I feel like.
Yeah. So I'm on Facebook some. I did set up an author page, Kizzi Roberts. But I'm probably on Instagram more. I'm trying to be better about social media. When I'm just not good at regularly posting. But if you're ever if someone ever had a question or something, they could certainly reach out to me. Because I do check it. So, like, if you want to send me a message on Instagram or through, I don't know, can you message pages on Facebook?
Yes,
I think so.
You can.
Yeah. Okay. So, I will see the message. Or, you can email me. I do have a website. It's kizmonster.com. So, KIZMONSTER.com. And I need to update that as well. But I do try to keep it updated. And I had a newsletter set up with some. So if you want to try to sign up for my newsletter, go for it. Because I did have some bonus materials that went along with my books. So if you sign up for the newsletter and you don't get the automated email, you can send me an email at kizzy@learningspark.com. And I can make sure you get the bonus material. It's some activity pages for kids, for the Critter Camp kids, and then also, I can't remember now, it's been so long since I made them, but I think it's some coloring pages for the picture books.
So cool. I love that.
Try to have activities for all the books. But.
Yeah. Okay, so I will put all of those things that she said, the email address, the website, her Instagram, all that kind of stuff. That'll be in it's not called show notes, whatever it is on YouTube. See,
okay.
Whatever it is, it'll be in there. And then I'll also have some stuff in tomorrow's post. So y'all will be able to get to all that stuff very easily. All right. So you've kind of, in talking about the indie publishing, this may have already kind of been answered, but is there one thing in particular about the business of book publishing that you think readers might be interested to know?
Well, I think for indie publishing, you know, readers might be surprised how easy it is to show an author support without even spending any money. You know, you can follow the author on Amazon. Follow them on social media, engage with their posts. Even just sharing their posts or liking them. Of course, it would be great if they were writing books that you were, that fit you and you wanted to buy them. And of course, that's wonderful. And then, if that's the case and you're reading their books, then leaving reviews, especially for indie authors, is so important. But that would probably be the thing. I don't know. I think sometimes people don't realize how important, like something that seems kind of little, like commenting on a post or sharing or just liking it, that it really makes a difference. It helps the algorithms on social media, but it also, like, indie authors are usually doing everything themselves and they're really engaged directly with their social media, and it's a little boost. It's good to know that you're not just speaking into a vacuum and that there's people out there that care.
That's so true, because it does feel like that often.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So,
great.
and I mean, I know I've been guilty of it in the past, of like not thinking that my opinion mattered, or like that I could help. And now I've just realized how important it is to, I don't know, be a little cheerleader for fellow authors. I mean, that's the thing about authors. I feel like we're all in this together. It's not really competitive, because even if you have two books on the same topic, like a reader that likes one book, well, if they like the topic, they're going to read the other book too.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm sure we all I devoured every horse book in the library when I was in middle school, right? Like there weren't enough of them.
Same.
Yeah. I mean, so I think that's important to keep in mind, is that, authors supporting authors and wanting to put stuff out there for the readers, and, that we're all